Hello. Hi. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Aphrodite. This is Aphrodite's house. And here we like to talk about all things esoteric, astrology, tarot, alchemy, all that good stuff. So if you're new here, stay a while. If you're coming back, hey, how you been? Welcome home. Um, I was going to take a nap, but that didn't happen. So instead, I'm going to talk about human design charts and kind of how I feel about human design charts, whether or not I find them to be accurate, important, how I feel kind of about like applying them to just my everyday life. So, I will start by saying that I did do my human design chart for protection reasons. I'm not going to disclose all of my information. Anyone who knows anything about sort of like the spirit world knows that there's only so much of yourself you can disclose before you give someone or something else enough ammunition. So always be really, really, really particular about the information that you choose to share online and how much of yourself you're willing to share. I will say my human design chart was pretty accurate when I applied it against my everyday life as well as my full astrology chart. I will say that my human design chart was quite helpful. So if you're thinking about doing one and figuring out how it applies to you and where you stand spiritually, the things you're able to produce spiritually, the things that you are supposed to be receiving, and things of that nature, I would go ahead and say do your human design chart somewhere around here, or actually probably in the description box. I will link a good place to get your human design chart where you can fully get all of the information. I suggest you either download the copy of your human design chart specifically, or get a pen and a paper and take very specific notes, because they're going to go on to describe very, very detailed things like what's the best times of day to do things, whether or not you're supposed to be receiving things, whether or not you make it easier for other people to receive things, things of that nature. And then you can do more of a deep dive on yourself when comparing your human design chart to your astrology chart. I have sort of a dream board going on back there. This is just what I do. I take tons and tons of notes, and then I apply those notes to my astrological chart, and then I apply all of that to the goals that I have set for myself and whether or not they're achievable, and how to achieve those goals based off of the type of individual I am in this lifetime. I definitely think it's an important thing to do. If you haven't done something like this, I highly recommend you do it. I will at some point be releasing kind of like a guidebook on a couple of topics, actually, one of which will be navigating Moldavite, which I'm wearing mine now. So navigating Moldavite, I'm trying really hard not to say because I do that when I can't get the words out all of the way, and I'm sure it's really, really obnoxious. So I'm attempting to avoid that, and of course now all we get is awkward silence, right? So the navigating around Moldavite ebook, I'm just going to call it an ebook, will give tips, tricks, and advice on which crystals to kind of pair with this tektite, how to navigate it, how to understand it, how to change up and understand the changes that come to you, how to be more receiving of those changes, and how to get to a place of acceptance and understanding when it comes to these things, because there's a lot of rapid change and growth with Moldavite, because it's going to force you out. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. If you're not looking to be shoved into one direction, you don't need Moldavite. If you want to take your time and still get some of the same results of change overall, you need to be working with Malachite first. So just keep that in mind. Moldavite is a beautiful tech type, but when it comes to crystals that you can work with, that will give you the same effect, but be more so over time and gradually. And, you need to be thinking about malachite. With that being said, I'm just gonna make a whole bunch of ebooks because I feel like it's a lot easier for me to get in depth with you all down to the very last detail when it's all right in front of you and it's so simple and it's just easy to digest. I get that like videos are great and I love making videos, so I'm going to keep doing them. I obviously just feel like after a while you start to either really like clock out or you want videos to be shorter so that you can cram as much information in at one time. And I'm not a cram all the information in at one time individual. You're never going to get a video from me that's like shorter than 7 minutes. And if you do, it's typically because it's for something else or like it's a short. But yeah, I'm definitely going to start producing more of these articles of writing on these individual topics because I sit here and I talk for hours and hours, especially with newer clients that I have or people who I just meet in person inside of shops and things like that. And we can really get to talking, and then they get my number and they'll ask me the same questions because they didn't take notes, they didn't memorize, whatever. It's fine. But I definitely feel like if that's going to be the big thing and my words are holding so much power and everyone's really learning from them and appreciating what I'm having to say, it might just make more sense to put everything down into these ebooks. And obviously I'm not going to be like, oh my god, here's my $50 ebook on multi, like, it's more like here's a $5 ebook. It's like 10 pages long. It goes well into depth about the different stages of working with moldavite and all of these things, these tips, these tricks, things you can pair with moldavite, and how to navigate everyday life if you're going to wear it continuously like I do around my neck, and just things of that nature. I mean, just really, really chocked full of information. The same thing with astrology and applying that to your everyday life, breaking down the houses and figuring out what's going to be, best for you in terms of marketing yourself, fashion, things that really can bring out the best in you, how to best manifest based off of the type of individual that you are. Just all of these really important things that I feel like people tend to overlook. I think we get really into this newer aged, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this because if I do this ritual and I do that, and everyone's different. I think people tend to overlook a lot. So are there particular days that are going to be more beneficial to you based off of your astrological chart? What are some of these auspicious days that are going to be more open to you, if that makes sense? You can do anything. The only limitations that you have are the ones that you put on yourself, and I say that all the time. This is not that. This is more of a boost. The best way I can think of it is if you're playing like Mario Kart and you get one of those boosts that makes you go really, really, really fast. So it's just learning more about yourself is going to give you that boost. It's going to help you align just a little bit more, right? So that we can bring the things that we desire towards us in a more aligned fashion. I get that doing this and doing that and applying this and applying that can be difficult. It can be draining. It can be a lot of work. It can be time consuming. But in the end, when you really learn more about yourself down to the last detail, the better you are going to be at doing things, at finding jobs, at finding locations to live in, manifesting, bringing in new friends, letting go of old habits, things of that nature, which you really need to learn. And all of this information can be hidden in your astrological chart, in your human design chart, and so on. Astrocartography chart. There we go. I was trying to think of the other one. So it's really about you and how much energy you're willing to put into yourself. I was willing to put all of my energy into myself, doing my human design chart, breaking it down, and taking as many notes as I could and really applying it to everything I wanted to. It took me a couple of hours, but it was worth it, because in the end I realized that I was doing things in one way when I really should have been doing them in a completely different way. And I was moving backwards. I was moving against my natural flow of things, and that's why things were becoming so difficult. So, do I think a human design chart is worth it? Do I think digesting more about yourself, learning about yourself, applying these things to yourself, do I think it's worth it? Hell yeah. I absolutely do, because I feel like you could think that you're swimming with the tide, and in the end you're going against it. You're making things so difficult for yourself because you don't truly know yourself. Um yeah. I definitely feel like once you get to know yourself a little bit more and you put in more of this effort into appreciating who you were naturally born to be and how you can apply that to who you want to be, then the two things will align naturally and you'll be able to achieve whatever it is that you want. And it won't be as difficult, it won't be as nerve wracking, it won't be as draining, because you're happy, you're flowing with yourself naturally now. You're where you need to be. You're mellowing out in all of the right places. And I definitely feel like right now, with everything going on and people really not accepting things the way we used to and demanding more as individuals, as beings, as those who know their rights, as those, whether it be in terms of the workplace, in terms of friendships, in terms of relationships, and that can mean, parental relationships as well. The more we learn, the more we stick by ourselves, the more we stick by our true natures, the more we stick by our physical body, our astral body, our light body, the more we stick within ourselves and are just happy to be ourselves and things like that, the more we are not willing to accept from everyone around us. And because we're standing our ground and we're really just, everything just so great. So I definitely believe it's worth it. I definitely believe it's life changing. I definitely think take a couple hours from your day to really figure you out, because like I said, you could be doing something completely backwards, and once you really digest your chart, you'll figure out why. But like I said, I'm definitely going to work on getting out those little booklets so that you can read those little booklets and get as much information as possible. Like I said before, it's not going to be like a $50 ebook type situation where you download this book and all you get is like 5 tidbits of information. It's going to be probably a $5 book for every one that I release, and it's going to be like between 10 to 20 pages worth of information, how to apply these things, how to understand these things. And it's not just going to be on Moldavite or anything astrology based. It's going to go a lot deeper than that in terms of starting out your spiritual journey, talking about things like astral projection, astral protection, talking about things like sleep paralysis, talking about things like how to apply your spiritual lessons to your everyday life, understanding that spirituality does not look one type of way, and you do not have to have one type of profession in being spiritual. My job, what I was led to, what runs in my bloodline, spiritual mentor, spiritual advisor, shaman, all of these things run in deep in my bloodline. So teaching, helping, healing, these are all things that I've been naturally called to do, which I can do across multiple platforms in multiple ways, i.e. sitting here talking to you like I'm doing now, writing books, things of that nature, doing the community center. So really just creating safe spaces for people where they can learn and get as much information as possible without making it a thing of it needing to be overly expensive. I understand that not everyone has $800 to spend to get information on things that might really be significant and life-changing. And I understand that a lot of this information I just might have. And it's vital to share these things within the community. So that's what I'm starting to do now in terms of my latest individual projects from home. So you can look forward to that. Probably by the time my next video goes up, the one after this, I will have at least a couple done and linked in the bio, so that, or linked in the description, sorry, so that you can go and read those and get as much information as possible. It will also probably have a lot of channeled information. And when that happens, when I input channeled information, I will let you know who the channeled information comes from. Please keep in mind that through my spiritual practices, I work with Thoth. So a lot of my information might come from Thoth. So if getting information from Thoth or from Isis or any of them is going to be a thing of you not wanting to deal with that or accept that or digest that, which is respectable, do what you feel is best for you, just know that that's who my channeled information might come from. Yeah, it was really important that I said that because the information needs to go to the right audience. And some people might go, oh, Thoth, no thank you. But it's quite fitting. It's really quite fitting given everything else. I love Thoth. I love working with Thoth. If you see me, I'm looking over here. I'm looking at Thoth's space. I have a sacred space just for Thoth. Yeah. So please look forward to these books. It's going to be packed with so much information. The libraries, your Akashic records, things of that nature, how soul retrieval, things that I've dibbled and dabbled in, things that I've seen, things that I've experienced, just a bunch of fun stuff, and navigating these things and staying safe, staying prepared, physically, mentally, spiritually. You always want to be prepared. So I'm hoping that my guidebooks are helpful. I'm hoping that my information on human design is helpful. Like I said, I will link where I did my human design chart. I'm telling you, it is so worth it. They're going to give you all these different names and pieces of information. So what you're going to need to do, or what I suggest you do, is print out the human design chart. It's going to show you your whole body on the chart. That's kind of what it does. And then write down as much as possible and do your research. Like, look up specific things, because it's not going to give you all of that information. It's going to give you, it's been a minute since I've looked at my human design chart. It's probably been a couple weeks. I'm sure it gives you the degrees of some stuff. I think that's what it was. It was the degrees, how much of something. One of the things in my human design chart, I will say, actually told me that my body does not do well digesting more than one food at a time, which is crazy. So if I have food on my plate, basically I need to be eating one food at a time instead of eating everything all together, because my body won't digest it well, and then I'll have digestion problems. So human design chart is crazy. Please look into your chart. I'm telling you, it's so wild. You're going to get so much information about yourself, and you're going to be like, damn, I didn't even realize. I had an inkling, but I wasn't too sure, but now I'm sure. So I'm telling you, it is so worth it. This is, yeah, so worth it. But this is what I've got for you today in this video. I know that I'll be putting out more content soon. I've just been dealing with a lot, shifting my perspective again, reworking with Moldavite. So a lot is changing, and I'm learning to just allow things to change all over again, because I've entered into a different stage of my life and I thought things would be calm. And of course, now that I've reached sort of this peak, Moldavite goes, okay, it's time for the next phase. Put me back on, because now we need to shove you through to what's next. So that's fun. So if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Do you think the guidebooks will be helpful to you? Is that something you're interested in? Human design, have you done it? What's a fun fact your chart has said about you? I didn't know that I couldn't eat more than one food at a time. That shit is crazy. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much what I've got for you. In my next video, I'm going to be talking more about astrology and applying things that you learn in astrology to your everyday life and why it's so important. Yeah, but this is what I've got for you in terms of this video. I hope I was helpful. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you stay smiling. I hope you stay happy and healthy and blessed. And I hope you continue to just keep doing what makes you feel happy, because that's all you can really do when going through the human experience. All right, I'll see you in the next one.